Good evening. It's 6 p.m. and I'd like to call this meeting of the Laramie County School District #1 Board of Trustees to order. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hello, my name is Ian Brown. I'm principal at Rossman Elementary.
And I'm Kenzie Yarder, the Dean of Students here at Rossman.
And this is Rossman Elementary reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
All right, Dr. Newton, do we have any adjustments to tonight's agenda?
Madam Chair, there are no adjustments to this evening's agenda.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I move to adopt the agenda.
And I second.
we have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that has been adopted. So we'd like to start out our meetings with recognition of staff and students for outstanding achievements. So this is always, I think, one of our favorite parts of the meetings. And tonight we have quite a few. We're going to start with our Student of the Week recognitions. We have 3 students to recognize tonight for the week of September 29th, October 13th, and October 20th. The first student that we'll be recognizing is Molly Hale from Triumph High School, and she will be joined by Principal Mike Maloney and her favorite teacher, Amber Martins.
Good evening. I'm Mike Maloney, and it is my privilege to introduce Molly Hale, a senior at Triumph High School, who was selected for this award because of her near perfect attendance, A's in all her courses, and her consistency in displaying our school's guiding principles of being prompt, prepared, polite, having a positive mental attitude, participating, and producing. She is a wonderful role model for our younger students. I will always remember Molly because when I interviewed, she gave me the tour of Triumph. Molly chose Amber Martins as her favorite teacher, and Amber is going to say just a few words about Molly.
Hello, I'm Amber, and I have the privilege of having Molly in both science and advisement. And Triumph High School is a closed campus, so they can't leave for lunch unless you have a Spartan ticket. So you'd have to have 3 or less absences, A's and B's, and Molly has that. But she has chosen not to leave because she just loves Triumph. And it's great because even at lunch, she will sit with the dean and some other staff members and a couple other students because she doesn't want to be with the drama either. Not just do her grades and behavior show success, but also her desire to help others. So I love having her in class because she's always the first one if they were absent to make sure that they got what they needed. And if they're not understanding, she will help them. So I'm grateful to have her. And I call my kids water bears because they will go unnoticed sometimes, often, but they're very indestructible. So thank you guys for noticing Molly. And she, I would say, is my true water bear because she is resilient and she perseveres. She has had many challenges in her past, but it doesn't prevent her from continuing to try. She just has become more compassionate and wise. And even when we graduate, when Molly graduates, I know I'm going to stay in contact with her because I just love and adore her. So.
Molly has asked me to share a few things on her behalf. Her strengths are working well in groups. She has been successful in online classes, and she is always willing to help others when they ask. Her interests outside of school is her dog, Precious, and pretty much all animals. She really enjoys reading, and she likes to keep busy. Her future plans will most likely, she will graduate at the end of the second quarter, and she wants to work in animal grooming or the vet tech industry. She would like to thank her parents, Derek and Penelope, who are here tonight to support her, along with Laramie, our Dean of Students, and of course, her science teacher, Amber and Kirsten. Now Molly will say a few words about her favorite teacher.
Amber is my favorite teacher because of how kind and resilient she is. And she has amazing communication skills and she always listens to me. And she is really smart and funny and nice.
Before I present this award to her, I would like to recognize her parents, Derek and Penelope, and her brother Jeremiah, who are here tonight with her. Please stand.
You're gonna take a picture first.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll just wait right over here. Congratulations, Molly. Our next student that we'll be recognizing for the week of October 13th is Naya Herrera. Naya's a 12th grader at East High School. And so if we could get Naya and Principal Mark Kirshner and favorite teacher, Cody Fournier, to come forward.
My name is Mark Kirshner, principal at East High School, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you Naya Herrera. Naya was selected because she's really made the most of her high school experience. She's also a bright spot at East High School. There have been many, many times when I've been standing in the cafeteria or lobby around a bunch of 9th graders, and I must have had a really grumpy look on my face because Naya always comes up, says hello, flashes the biggest smile, and always makes me feel better and reminds me that they'll grow up someday. I appreciate that. Naya is super involved in East High School, but her passion is in the fine and performing arts. So she's a part of our TV program and our drama and theater programs, and she makes some great contributions there. Mr. Fournier couldn't be with us tonight, but he wanted me to read a few words that he had prepared. And keep in mind, he's a creative writing teacher and an English teacher. So I'll do my best, but I promise you he has words I don't have. So here goes. What a rarity to engage with a student who reflects that which we all could aspire to be. Acutely aware of the human condition, all of its flaws, follies, bright spots, and brilliance, Naya interacts with every student and teacher with the utmost respect and honesty. Those that meet her feel dignified and that she honors them with the feeling that they are being seen and heard. In this way, her heart is often on her sleeve, glowing with empathy. I consider myself exceptionally lucky to be a teacher, but when a student like her tolerates my celebratory excitement for literature, creativity, and simple kindness, it bubbles at the core of what makes this job so worthwhile. Even luckier as her creative writing teacher, I get to read her writing, which is a gift to us all. It is lyrical, clever, and versed in life. It is a tidal wash of what it means to be a human today, a sensory salute to this moment. Naya reflects all that is good in the world. She's giving, she shares her happiness, she acknowledges the sadness of others, she lends a hand, she invites us into her adventure with open arms and an occasional cup of coffee and expects nothing in return, though she certainly deserves our admiration and maybe a blueberry Red Bull. I am honored and humbled to be part of her journey, and I am so excited that she has been chosen to represent East High School as Student of the Week. I can't wait to see where the next few years will take her. I'll let Naya speak a little bit about Mr. Fournier.
Man, how do I follow that? That's crazy. So before having Mr. Fournier's class, I had his brother's class my sophomore year in English. And before this, I had just developed an interest in writing. But like most teenagers, I focused on a lot of negative things and my writing wasn't really that good. When I began his class, I learned that a lot of the writing process was through processing who I am before writing other stories. And with that, I developed this sort of negative outlook about the human experience. The world is weird and crazy and confusing at times, but every single time I went into Mr. Fournier's class, without fail, he had a big smile on his face. And that alone, along with other things, really changed the way that I became a writer. And day by day, my writing got better. And along with all of the weird, crazy, confusing things that I found out that life was, it is simultaneously beautiful and exciting and awesome. And throughout that, every single day, it started to show in the way that I treat myself and others and how I approach school and learning and growing up. And because of that, I'm taking the step to continue to pursue creativity and thinking critically and learning to uplift others and treat myself kindly. And so from here on out, I'm headed to an art school, hopefully, to continue to pursue creativity because I think it's awesome.
Naya has a group of people in the audience tonight supporting her. Could we get those people to stand so that they can be recognized?
Congratulations, Naya. The third student we'd like to recognize as Student of the Week is Della Ortega from Johnson Junior High School. Della is a 7th grader and will be joined by Principal Erin Moon and favorite teacher Janet Weisbrook. Or maybe just Mr. Moon.
Okay, well, glad we're here. Ms. Weisberg just couldn't make it the last minute, so we'll carry forward. So good morning, trustees, Dr. Newton. My name is Aaron Moon. It's my privilege to introduce Della Ortega, a 7th grader at Johnson Junior High. Della was selected because she's always helpful, supportive, often checks in with adults. It's not often that people see us throughout our day and they want to stop and see how we're doing and what we're doing. So it's always great to have that. She's one of the most fun students that we have. She's always positive. If you see her walking through the room, it's always with a smile and bopping around from one group of folks to the other, often just checking in and just being a positive light in the hall, in the building. It was further confirmed when I was talking to staff members about our choice for Student of the Week. Every staff member's face lit up. And as I was sitting here tonight, former staff, former administrators, teachers who saw Della were equally excited and knew that we had made the right choice. So we're very proud to have Della as our Student of the Week, and Della chose Janet Weisbrook as her favorite teacher. And at this point, then Della will share a few things about herself. Ms. Weisbrook. For some reason, she chose Ms. Weisbrook as her favorite teacher.
So I chose Miss Weisbrook as my favorite teacher because she always makes things fun for me. She makes me smile a lot and she helps me get motivated for the morning because I know that some people have struggles waking up and getting motivation to go to school, but my teachers, especially Miss Weisbrook, help me get up and want to be at school because she makes it fun.
We were having a competition to say who could be the most nervous for this, so I think I won. We are joined by Shelly Ann, mom and support system here in the front. We go stand. Give us. Thank you.
Congratulations, Della. Congratulations to all of you students and your favorite teachers. Western Vista Federal Credit Union sponsors awards for our Students of the Week. So at this time, I'd like to invite Laurel Bellotti, Chief Marketing Officer, to the front to say a few words.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hello, everybody. It is my true honor to be here. We rotate this honor through our staff, and so we usually get to come once or twice, and it's always just so fun to hear the wonderful stories about the students in our district. Molly, Naya, and Della, one of the things that I heard about all of you is not only are you good students and active in your school, but you are good humans. You are kind people. And I think that that's one of the things that I love the most about this. Of course, we expect Students of the Week to be good students and to be active in their school communities, but I think their character is really, really important. And to parents, kudos to you for what you have done to raise such wonderful children. So I would like to acknowledge that I'm wearing jeans, and I wouldn't normally wear jeans to this presentation. However, because I know what's coming a little later tonight, I'm also wearing my J boots. So you'll hear about the J Foundation a little bit later, but that is why I'm wearing my jeans, is because I proudly wanted to display my red J boots. I am an East High alum parent, but I am not afraid to wear Central Red because it matches my boots. So anyway, on that note, I will call it an evening, and congratulations again.
Congratulations. Congratulations, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. 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 Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're very. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Kirschner is not going far because our next recognition is of an East High School 4A speech and debate champion. So I'd like to invite Andrew Schultz to the front. He'll be joined by Principal Mark Kirschner and speech and debate coach Alan Pino.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you Alan Pino, head coach of the East High School Speech and Debate Program. And there's actually a little bit of a typo in the agenda because we're here to recognize the national champion, Andrew Schultz, and I'll let Mr. Pino tell you all about it.
A little bit shorter than everyone else. All right. So yes, I'm Alan Pino. I'm the head. A little bit too short. So I'm Alan Pino. I'm the head coach of speech and debate at East High School, and I get the honor of being able to work with Andrew, who is a junior this year. And this past summer, we went to Des Moines, Iowa, where he became a national champion in expository speaking. And to kind of understand what that journey looked like, it was not an easy one. So in February, we participate at a national qualifying tournament that is composed of half of Wyoming, a little bit of South Dakota, and a little bit of Nebraska. So when he qualified to nationals, he became part of the 1% of students that get to compete. And then when we went to Des Moines, he was competing with 550 other students in his single event. And so over the course of the week, they narrow it down until he was part of the final 6, where during the award ceremony, we had the opportunity to see him be crowned a national champion, where he now joins the top 1% of that 1% and is, I believe, if I did my research correctly, number 9 in the history of Wyoming to become a national champion in speech and debate. And of course, I have to recognize some other people because Andrew's journey doesn't happen just by himself. There are 2 people in this audience here, his family, who speech and debate greatness kind of runs through their blood because we have Ashley Scholes, our assistant coach. Please stand on up. And Danny Scholes, his sister, both who have been actually recognized as a national speech and debate coach of the year in 2024. And Danny, his older sister, who was also a finalist for Student of the Year by the National Speech and Debate Association. So good things keep coming. So we'll just close it up because this isn't possible without the support of the community, the board, Mr. Kirschner, everyone, and all the resources that go in this because I think it just shows how much this community supports our students, how much they want our students to succeed, and how much we want our students to be more than just to be able to say their opinions and be critical thinkers and go beyond expectations. So thank you.
Wow, great job.
This is the only time I'm gonna get this close to a trophy this big, so I'm gonna enjoy it.
And we have one more East High recognition. I'd like to invite Colin Crecelius to the front. Colin was the #1 singles, boys or male singles tennis player at state this year, and he'll be joined by Principal Mark Kirschner and head coach Chris Lev.
So again, I'm just gonna turn it over to Coach Love to talk about all the great accomplishments for Colin.
All right. Hi, I'm Coach Love. This is my first year coaching tennis over at East. So it's my first year getting to work with Colin here. He's done a lot of great things well before I showed up. So I'm not going to take credit for it all. A couple accomplishments that we've got. He's been playing for about 10 years now, a little over 10 years. Regions champ this year, state champ, 3-time All-State. Anything you want me to add to that?
No, that's great.
No, that's great. All right. Besides that, he's just a tremendous leader for the entire team. Steps up every time we needed somebody to run some practice stuff, run drills. Great model for everybody, including those 9th graders that hopefully one day will grow up. But no, just an outstanding player for our program, going to be sadly missed. And hopefully those kids behind him really learned something this year and will model the same kind of sportsmanship, team type attitude that Colin has carried all year. So thank you.
And could all the people in the audience supporting Colin stand up to be recognized? I think we're over in the corner there.
Figuring that out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you.
Great.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
And what you say is this one?
Facilities. All right, we're going to switch it up now and recognize some Central High School students. I would like to call up Principal Karen Delbridge from Central Golf, head coach Kevin Georges, and assistant coaches Ross Windows and Emily Pilkington. Are they here? Maybe. We will be recognizing a member of just two kids, I think, a member of the boys golf team and a member of the girls golf team, Andrew Lewis and Bella Beach.
Come on up. So I'm going to introduce Coach Georges. So we have a number of golfers, quite a few. And so I am super proud of these two, and so I'm going to let him take it over.
Thank you very much. Yes, we do. Our golf team has grown a ton. We have more players on our team than our football team does. However, these two, I would like to bring something up that oftentimes isn't recognized. To be a student athlete is very, very hard. The time commitment that these kids have to put forward for studies as well as their trade is huge. And I'm proud to say that both of these not only are all staters in golf, but they also are academic lettermen. And we make it a point to really point that out to our school, to our team, and how important that is. The other thing is yes, golf has become very, very competitive, boys and girls side. And to have these two standing behind me, having received all state honors this year at state, is just an absolute honor. Andrew puts his effort daily into playing, practicing, working on his trade, and it shows. His brothers are some athletes, and he didn't want to fall in their shadow, so he dedicated himself to golf, and for him to step up as a junior and get all state in one of the most competitive boys fields we've ever had is absolutely impressive. Bella, same thing. She came to us. She's only a sophomore, and for her to already be receiving all state honors as a sophomore is pretty phenomenal. She put a pretty big run at state. She was tied going into the last hole with a senior, and just missed it. But I think we're gonna get there. We got a few more with you and one more with Andrew. I couldn't be prouder of these two. They represent our school. They represent our sport, and they represent this city very, very well. And we should all be very proud of them. And I want to thank everybody here and the board for recognizing these students and letting them come up. I think that too often times it's not recognized enough with what these athletes do, as well as our tennis team up here that's coming up next. So thank you for your time, and we should be very proud of all of these kids.
So does Andrew and Bella have some family here tonight? If you would stand, oh, there you are. Yeah, thank you so much for what you do.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I had all of those boys in kindergarten. Oh.
And now we are going to recognize Central High School 4A state tennis champions from the boys and the tennis girls tennis team. There are quite a few, so I will let you call them all up and introduce them. Dr. Delbridge, and the tennis coaches I imagine are here too. So Coach Garrett, is it Siemens? And assistant coach Lisa Escobar.
Yeah. So come on up. I'd like to introduce to you our Coach Siemens here and our state champions in tennis. So come on up, come on up. I'm going to tell you, the tennis community has just been this amazing group of people. And they have just really opened up their arms to me to show me really what the world of tennis is about. And I'm going to tell you, these kids are phenomenal in the classroom. They exemplify who Central is. And I have a large stack. And so I'm just going to turn this over to our coaches. So Coach Seaman.
All right, I'll hand those out after the players because we kind of have a lot of them. So this is, I think, our third time in a row, at least that I've been here. I'm sure Central's been here many times before this, and there just is a lot that kind of goes into our program. The first part of our program is obviously the kids. The amount of hours that these athletes spend on the courts is unreal. We help out a lot with Cheyenne Tennis. A lot of them give lessons to youth, which if you have any kids or work with younger kids, you know that it can be challenging in itself. And so just the fact that they're willing to go out there for those lessons, work and develop those kids, not just for the Cheyenne Central program, but for Cheyenne East and Cheyenne South as well. It's just incredible with the amount of work that they put in. They also like to challenge each other a lot throughout the year, play at tournaments across the United States. We've had teams travel for our USTA team. We've had Gov Cup players, just lots of playing around the year. And that's kind of what it takes for these players to be successful, is to just get out there and play and not back away from that challenge. The second part of our success really comes from the players. So I can see a couple of us out there. If you are a tennis parent, could you please stand up for us? A big part of our success comes from our parents. They're always asking how can I help out? And I found it to be most successful to let them help. They want to help to better their kids. They want to help to better the program. And they just want the best, not just for Central Tennis again, but for all tennis. I know there have been numerous tennis meets that we've been to where the parents have given out water for other players, have given out shade. I'm pretty sure one time Coach Escabel also helped a team at a set tie break, just asking him, what do you need? What do you need to help finish your match? And I think the parents just do a really good job of not supporting just us, but supporting their players and then supporting tennis around Cheyenne. So thank you to those parents. The other thing is we have volunteer coaches. We had 3 this year that I'd like to recognize, and that's Nate Smedley, Jared Smedley, and Paul Spillman. Could you guys stand up for us? And with these coaches, they help out kind of wherever's needed. The Smedleys have helped run summer practice sessions, I think, for years. Even before I was here, I think they helped out a lot with Central. And especially at our practices, they kind of do whatever it takes to help better these kids. And I've always appreciated the Smedleys' help. One of our new ones was Paul Spillman this year, who's had a couple of kids on our team. And he helped out doing like conditioning sessions in the morning before open net sessions, doing stretching. And he was always asking, Coach, what do you need? What can I help with? And just kind of that go-getter attitude. And so especially all 3 of these people have really helped the players succeed, have helped me, have helped Coach E, and are just always willing to help. So I really appreciate their help. The Smedleys also had a ton of crazy stats that I wish I could share. But basically at our end of the year banquet, they talked a lot about just how dominant the Central tennis program has been. And then specifically went on to say a couple of our teams that played this year, especially our girls team. I think this was, correct me if I'm wrong, the highest scoring girls team or tied with the highest scoring girls team. The highest scoring Central girls team ever. So that was a huge accomplishment from our girls team. And then our boys team placed 4th. We had some injuries this year. But after every practice, every player showed up. And every player challenges each other. We don't really have a boys practice and a girls practice. Both of our teams can play with each other, and I think that makes them better and better every single practice and every single day. And then our final recognition I want to give to is Coach E, who has been with Central for many years as well. Coach E helps keep me on track as much as she can. She is very good with her organization. She's always running around helping players. Something that really stood out to me was when we were in Rollins, and I can't remember which player had a headache, but they needed a coffee really bad. And Coach E graciously offered to get about 9 kids their coffee order from Starbucks. Came back for the matches, was there to support, was there to coach out and help out. And I don't know very many assistant coaches that would get the kids what they need, like a coffee in that moment to help play, to help do what they can. And our girls team was successful that day. So whatever worked with the coffee, it worked. But we just have a really great program here at Central. I'm always proud to be a part of it. I know I'm from Gillette, and so I grew up with maybe a little bit of hesitation towards Central, but I think every day I'm with these guys. I'm thankful that I'm here, and I'm thankful to have such a good group of kids behind me. So thank you.
Congratulations. 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 Coach. They got you the grip on every single one of those. That's a lot of
A couple more recognition things to do, but the next one is one we're always really excited to do, and it's an award we started this year, but it's our Employee Spotlight Award. So recognition of staff for outstanding achievements and contributions. Tonight, we will be recognizing Karen Lowe from the custodial unit. She works at South High School. So I'd like to invite Karen forward, along with South High School Principal Carrie Gentry and Custodial Services Supervisor Michael Kimmel.
Good evening. It's my privilege and pleasure to introduce you to Karen Lowe. She's the Assistant Head Custodian at South High School. She's being recognized for this award because of her excellence in leadership and dedication. Her dedication leads to us getting, let me check my notes, sorry. She was selected for this award because she consistently demonstrates exceptional leadership and dedication. That's what I meant to say. She ensures the facilities are safe and clean and welcoming for students and staff every day, which is something that I truly appreciate from Karen and her team. Karen's exceptional work ethic, technical expertise, and ability to lead and mentor others has earned her widespread respect throughout the district. I am very proud to recognize her for this award and her outstanding achievements. We couldn't do the job that we do without people like Karen. So I'm very honored to give her this award.
So yes, I'm Karen. Jimmy Buffett wrote a song about an encounter with a street sweeper. It's called "It's My Job." Mac McAnally still sings it if you're familiar. I think he'd be a great visitor here for Frontier Days. This is the chorus. He said, "It's my job to be cleaning up this mess, and that's enough reason to go for me. It's my job to be better than the best, and that makes a day for me." Thank you.
I'd now, actually, we're going to, just if you'll give me a second, I'd like to invite Laurel back up from Western Vista Credit Union.
So this is my first time presenting one of these because this is a new program. So I love that you referenced Mac McAnally. So here's a fun fact. Here's a little trivia piece that maybe you'll get to use sometime. So Mac McAnally actually did some songwriting for Ned Ledoux, the son of the well-renowned Chris Ledoux. So there you go. There's a fun little tie for you. You didn't think you'd hear that tonight. But congratulations to you. Thanks for all you do. I cannot imagine being in custodial services in a school, especially not a high school. And so we value all the work that you do. And I just have a feeling you seem like you have the type of personality where I know you're in and amongst the students. So you hear things, you see things, and I think you probably have a special relationship with some of those kids. So thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you for your hard work. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you for everything you do. Bring her up. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we have one more big round of recognitions. And this is for our Cheyenne Schools Foundation Awards. I would like to ask our Community Relations Director, Mary Kloss, to come up. President of the First Education Federal Credit Union, James Yates, who also spearheads the Cheyenne Oh my gosh. Schools Foundation. I'm so sorry. I actually sat on that committee for a while. And the Cheyenne Schools Foundation Treasurer, Steve Gert, and anybody else you have with you who's helping with recognitions, come on up.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I think I'd like to, my name's Mary Quast and I'm Community Relations Director, and I'd like to actually turn this program over to Steve Gert. He is on the board and he has some words to say here, lots of them.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for attending the meeting here tonight with our Cheyenne Schools Foundation. First, we have Dr. Michelle Aldridge, who's also on our board. She actually runs our grant program, who oversees all those grant applications. We have Marguerite Herman, who is also on our board, and we also have then Dr. Renee Hinkle, who is also here tonight. So first, I'd like to send some thank yous for those in attend or when they do come to our run for #1 school. And that really is the bands from East, Central, and South High School. They really bring life to our 5K run that we do have. That's followed by the cheer squad of all of Central, South, and also East High School. They cheer on those runners both at the beginning and also at the end. So yeah, if you haven't attended, certainly try and do that. We also have volunteers from the ROTC program with South High School. So they are in attendance. And this year, we'd like to send a special thanks to Dr. Karen Delbridge for allowing us to use the Central High School location where we use the commons and the restrooms and things. So first, I'd like to bring recognition to the highest student participation rate within the schools. And if those principals can come up, we have Cary Junior High, Matt Schlegel, if he is here. We also have McCormick Junior High, Jeff Hatcliffe and Katie Wheeler. And with Willardson, we have Dr. Barbara Lyseth, if she is here. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the next 6 here. I'll bring up the other 3 and we'll do one big picture. So with Dildine, we have Carrie Peacock and Shelley Davis. This is 15 years in a row with the most money raised. So thank you. I really appreciate that. So let's compare. And again with McCormick Junior High, Jeff Hatcliffe and Katie Wheeler, 4th year in a row with most money raised. And then with Central High School, we have Dr. Karen Delbridge and Zaboni Brown, 4 of the last 6 years with most money raised. Each school participating up here will receive a check of $500 from the Cheyenne Schools Foundation. And then we'll grab a picture here with everyone. So thank you everyone for the participation and the outreach for the students in raising the most money. Thank you. So following, we have our 25-26 grant awardees. But first, we'd like to send a thank you for those who sponsor. That makes it possible for us to provide the dollars. We have First Education Credit Union, who is a sponsor. The Carlton family, who continues every year to provide dollars. Meridian Trust Credit Union. We have Kohl's, which provides quite a bit. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Wyoming, A&B Bank, Simpson Electric, and then Taco John's. Oh, okay. Yeah, so Marguerite said to bring up what the foundation does. So if you don't know, or if you haven't, or not aware, so the Cheyenne Schools Foundation provides funding opportunities for teachers to do not just innovative, but innovative in other programs to help our students. So we are a direct donation to the school district, to Laramie County School District #1, the schools, and also to the teachers to provide education opportunities to the students. So yeah, that's okay.
Thank you. So I should have started with that first of what we do. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the student enrichment, which is up to $1,500. So the Cheyenne Schools Foundation provided $12,388 to this category. So if those teachers are in attendance, if you would please come up as I call your name. We have Mary Bortwick, reading for proficiency, building a Spanish classroom library. We're gonna come on up there. Phil Chambers, make music cloud home to school connection. Yeah, come on. Sarah Evans, District World Language and Cultures Festival. Beth Grisby with electronic, technical, and artistic needs with East High School. Tara Hall, little language learners with Hobbs. Andrea Kravitsky with squid dissection with Freedom Elementary. Katie Lovett, materials for growing, enhancing drawing opportunities for students with East High School. We have Allie Rose, classroom enrichment equipment, Central High School. And Amber Thompson, enhancing musical access with adaptive instruments. So we're going to leave these guys up here and we'll go ahead and move on with excellence in education up to 3,500, where we granted $10,000 in this category. We have Nicole Cameron with photography and mentorships. She's East High School. Jean McKee, aquarium-based science exploration responsibility program with Triumph. We have Jennifer Pasquet with reporting the present, reading the future with South. So these are our grantees, but we have a couple more where we had 10,000 off-cycle grants, $5,159 for number one payments and $6,300 from Kohl's grants for a total of $43,867. We do have a large check that we'll bring up. We'll get a large picture of everybody. And yeah, so we're gonna slide on in.
Sarah knows.
Grant winners, we'd love to shake your hand if you have a second.
Very sad. Very sad. Congratulations.
Sorry.
Congratulations. So when we're. Congratulations. Good job. Thank you. Congratulations. Thanks for that. Well, we're sorting out, they get back to their meeting. My name is Marguerite Herman, former member of the board, but I'm on the board for the Cheyenne Schools Foundation. And this is also addressing everybody who's going to watch on Zoom, is that I think we should give an extra kudo to all the teachers who in the first month of school, sit down and write grants that are really stretch not only their resources, stretch their kids, make opportunities available they really wouldn't have the space to do. And they pick up ideas from each other and from conferences, and they bring them all together. And before the end of September, they write these grants. And so I admire them so much for while they're keeping everything together and meeting the standards and doing the curriculum and all that stuff, they're able to think a little bit beyond and what will help the students get to the next level. And all students, not just the straight A students, but every student in the class. And so I just wanted to shout out that we just have remarkable teachers in Laramie 1. Don't have to be.
So that concludes the recognition portion of our evening. We are now going to move into the public comment. We allow at the beginning of our meeting public comment concerning agenda items, and then public comment concerning non-agenda topics. Before I call anyone up for those, I have a statement to read regarding our public comment. The purpose of the board meeting is to conduct the business of the district publicly. The board sincerely values community input and feedback on school operations and welcomes public comment on both agenda and non-agenda items. Individuals wishing to comment during a board meeting must sign up by 5:45 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Sign up for public comment can be done electronically by accessing the form available on board docs under the public comment portion of the meeting agenda. Alternatively, individuals may contact Darlene Davis to be added to the electronic sign-up sheet. We begin by hearing public comment on agenda items, followed by public comment on non-agenda items. Please keep in mind, this is a time for school board members to listen and consider, but not to comment or debate. The board asks that all speakers first state your first and last name. Second, keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. And third, understand that if you wish to discuss matters pertaining to the employment of a district staff member, such as the appointment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, investigation, discipline, or dismissal of an employee, this will not be done during the public comment portion of the meeting. Such comments should be directed to the Executive Director of Human Resources, or you may request to meet with the board during executive session. So we did not have anyone signed up for public comment regarding agenda items, but we do have 2 individuals signed up for non-agenda items. And the first of those is Marguerite Herman.
Thanks. It's nice to see everyone here. Some old faces, some new faces. And so I'll be brief. I only have 3 minutes. I must be brief. So just about the speech and debate a little bit earlier this evening, reminded all 3 of my kids that speech and debate. And the unsung heroes of the speech and debate excellence and of our high schools here in Cheyenne are the bus drivers. And I want to tell you, they take off early on Friday and they travel to the 4 corners of the state. None of this 4A stuff. I mean, you go to the far reaches of the state, hours and hours into winter, and then they bring them home the next night. Late, it's midnight, 1 a.m. Saturday. And Saturday night, and so, you know, it's pretty amazing. They deliver those kids year after year, safe and sound. And I think the kids are pretty good for them. I don't know that for a fact, but I just have to say that waiting in a parking lot at East High School at midnight and just crossing fingers, and by George, every time they turned them up, could not happen without the bus drivers. So they earn special award for that. The second thing is about the bands. And so we mentioned about the bands that they showed up, volunteer, this was not required, sometimes with color guards at the Cheyenne Schools Foundation 5K, which raises money, goes right into the classroom. It's a wonderful way to raise money for teachers. But the band showed up, and what was really great is they would play individually, and it was great to see two of the bands always cheering on the third one, whoever was playing. And then they joined together for a final song. And it was just kind of neat. It was just kudos to the directors and the band parents. They, you know, we hear about tennis parents, yes, but band parents, I mean, they leave everything on the field, literally. So kudos to all the students who show up. And also they just got through with the marching band contest, and you'll be in Casper, so you'll be handing out those awards in the weeks to come. So, and there are a lot of kids, a lot of hands to shake. You have, it's a fun meeting to do all those kids. So kudos to all the music programs, and can't leave out the strings, of course, and choral, but bands are kind of near and dear to my heart. And then finally, I want to thank you all for pursuing on appeal the litigation to fully fund our public schools. We are part of the litigation team, the plaintiffs, and we got a local ruling in our favor. It's being appealed. And I have to say, with recalibration this year, it is important that we all stay focused on fully funding our public schools, fully compensating the most important part of the expense, which is our staff. Classified, certified, they all contribute to to the safety and education of our students. So thank you for sticking with that. I think it will have an impact for years to come. Let us keep our really good staff, have the seniority that really is necessary to bring up young new teachers. And so thank you for doing that. Look at that.
Thank you. The next individual signed up to speak is Julie Mackey.
Thank you. All right, I gotta do this time. Thank you, Board of Trustees, for allowing us to jump in here tonight. But my name is Julie Mackey. I am with the J Foundation. I'm the Wyoming Outreach Coordinator for the entire state. Okay, we all know how big Wyoming is, and the goal this year is over 3,500 high school seniors and staff. Today, we had the pleasure of being right over there and sharing the story with Central High School. The next 2 days we have South, we've got East, and so we're here until the 30th. Ultimately, I know we had schools opt in to be able to be a part of this, and we just want everybody to know that if a senior shows up, we're gonna get them their J boots. We want them to opt in to be a part of it, but we don't want to turn anybody away. Ultimately, we're preparing them, we're giving them a tool, mental health awareness, suicide prevention. So having these conversations has been great today when the kids get their J boots and they understand the message and the importance behind it. And they look you in the eye and they say, thank you, that this meant something to them today. We're just blessed to be able to be here and be a part of it. So just thank you for this opportunity, making this happen. And I'm just going to invite all of you over the next few days. Dr. Newton has the schedule and where we will be, but to come down and watch these kids, listen to the story, be a part of the experience with them. We're willing to gift you your J boots as well. So I want you to hear that. I want you to come and see those kids and be a part of it. But I don't know if I am allowed to, if anybody has questions or anything. I feel weird that you guys are back there and my back's to you. And I just love seeing familiar faces too. So it's been a joy today, and just being at the schools or at the district building here and seeing J boots out in the community. So it is really fun. Thank you for this opportunity. But we want as many seniors in LCSD #1 to have this opportunity and get on the bus, come be a part of it. And you guys come see what it's all about too. So thank you. Thank you for your time tonight. So
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, now
Will you ladies wait for just a minute, please? Yes.
Sorry. Oh, the next portion of our meeting is when the board is allowed to share communications and reports, so maybe we'll have something concerning Jay Boots, so. But we're moving now into board communications and reports. First, just we'll go over some upcoming meetings. Next Tuesday, October 28th, from 12 to 1:30, we'll have the executive team meeting with the superintendent. Monday, November 3rd, is our next regular board meeting at 6 p.m. But before that, we will have a work session at 5 p.m. And Wednesday, November 5th at 6:30 p.m. There's a parent advisory meeting here in the boardroom if anyone is able to attend that. So now I will open it up for individual board communications and reports. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share? Trustee Ash, please.
Thank you. I came tonight not knowing you all were going to be here. I wanted to give a shout out to the J Foundation because I have a senior. And when the emails first came out, I thought, that's just weird. So, but I saw some of the posts from the work you all did with the Casper group. And I thought, yep, I want her to hear what you guys have to say. And she came over and she called and she said, Mom, I got boots in the basement of the admin building. I'm like, well, that's interesting. She's like, but they did a presentation. She's like, it was one of the best presentations I've heard. She thought it was very, very good. She said she really thought she learned a lot. So for those of you I don't know that don't have seniors, probably haven't heard all of this. I just wanted to make sure you knew who these ladies were. The J Foundation has put together a foundation in honor of a young man who died by suicide. And they are providing the boots to the seniors, amongst other things, across the state and Idaho. Is that correct? And providing education on mental health.
Yeah.
And so the boots are beautiful, so thank you. So I have a couple of other things.
Okay, go ahead.
I also want to shout out to the band since I shouted out South High a couple weeks ago. I got to go watch all 9 hours of state marching band on Saturday. Woohoo! But wanted to talk a little bit about, they have changed state marching band a bit. Apparently, over the last 40 years, it has been primarily just a festival. And so all of the participants went and got rankings like you would at any kind of music or arts festival. They have not given away a state championship since 1985, according to the program. This year they ran 2 separate divisions, a scholastic division that went for the rankings, and a open or competitive division. East and Central both participated in the scholastic division. I don't know why, I didn't have a say in that. And South participated in the open division and got second, in addition to receiving the People's Choice Award. I was a little irritated because I thought they should have gotten first, as did most of the children I was with. Kelly Walsh is something. But I honestly thought South did a better job this year. So big shout out to them. Also, I did go over to the state recalibration judgment panel, I think is what they were calling it. It's basically a focus group in Laramie. I wanted to say thank you to Dr. Newton for encouraging PAC members to attend that. We had 2 parents at that meeting, shared some great feedback from a parent perspective. I would highly recommend that people kind of pay attention. The recommendations coming out from the consultant are fine. They're just, he didn't like me because I argued with him, but that's okay. But yeah, the recommendations do increase the model salaries, but they also decrease the number of teacher recommendations. So it changes the equation pretty dramatically.
All right. Trustee Cook.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I went to a few things. One was, I went to a well-attended literacy night at Fairview, and it was, they served food to the families and had great activities, and it was really well received. Secondly, I went to the 75th birthday party of Henderson, And that was kind of cool because my children had, two of my three children had attended Henderson, so we could see former teachers, a beloved former custodian, and a former school nurse. So that was fun too. And then funny, we went up over the weekend to Sheridan to watch the 4A conference cross country meet, and Laramie County kids did great, but I was gonna shout out the bus drivers like you did, Marguerite. I stopped and talked to one of the bus drivers and I said, thank you so kindly for bringing the kids safely to Sheridan. And she said it was a pretty interesting drive on Thursday. It was through rain and we had come up that same day, so it was a pretty scary drive. And then as we returned to Cheyenne on Saturday, I saw and texted trustee Ashby about the poor condition of the roads. And I saw these buses from Laramie County coming up and I thought, God bless them. They're keeping our best assets safe. And so I just thought, thank you, because I don't think the students are always so lovely on the bus. Much like Marguerite thought they were, but sometimes they aren't. I've heard from my grandkids. So anyway, I just am proud of the bus drivers and what they have to go through and keeping the kids safe. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Humphrey.
Just a couple things, but first, in regards to the J Foundation, I had the privilege of attending the luncheon with the chamber during Frontier Days and got to hear a pretty in-depth presentation and was just floored by how intentionally your foundation's being with mental health. So thank you. I will be seeing you this week. You may also be seeing my boys. So if I've got some in tow, just know that they're wild. So thank you for that invitation. Couple things with Anderson. So my son's a kindergartner, which is just mind-boggling to me. We went to family bingo night, which is absolute chaos with a bunch of, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9-year-olds. And the staff handled it so gracefully and let them be kids. And it was just the best time. My son left. Both my sons left having just the time of their lives. And then today we went to the pumpkin patch, which again, 2 kindergarten classes to a pumpkin patch. I thought, why are they doing this? Isn't that a family thing? Like they're really going to take a class of 25-year-olds to a pumpkin patch? And I just have to give kudos to Miss Alexander and Miss Kalhoff. They were so well organized. And again, like they let the kids be kids. Like there was just organized chaos and they're so good at that. And I only have 3 of my own and I couldn't fathom taking care of 20. So just wanted to give kudos to them.
All right. Trustee Burden.
Yeah, so last Wednesday, I went to the trades fair at Triumph High School. I was so excited about the briefing at the last meeting about the trades that I showed up for the trades fair a week early. So I went twice. And I'm just really super excited about all the work that's being done to promote the trades to our students and our families. And I learned, well, my husband went through the electrician apprenticeship program, which is paid all the way through. But what I learned is that construction, HVAC, plumbers, and concrete guys and gals also have on-the-job training programs. Some of them have classes, some in addition to that. But I just think it's really awesome that you can work for 4 years and, spend that same 4 years and, you go to college and you're thousands and thousands in debt. But for those who are not college minded and not gifted in that area, I just am super excited with all the things that we're doing. And I asked about training and how much does it cost and all the things. And, oh no, we pay you to go to work. So I was very excited about that.
Awesome.
And then I just thought everything was outside. So by the time I went in, then I learned that was inside. I missed all of that. So I just talked to the folks outside.
Anybody else? No. Julie, I just wanted to thank you for coming and sharing tonight, and thank you for what you and your team are doing with the J Foundation. I believe you have done something maybe with other LCSD1 kids in the last couple of years, maybe an FFA team, and I've seen some publicity things about small groups of kids, I believe, in our community who have met with you and heard the presentation and just been blessed by the boots. But like Trustee Ashby, I also have a senior, and she and her friends are really excited to come. They're at East High School, so I think they're a little later in your lineup. But thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for the message you're sharing. Thank you for just your love for our youth and getting out there to encourage and to build them up. And anyway, we appreciate you being here. So thank you. And that's all I have. So at this time, I will turn it over. Oh, yeah.
Can I
Trustee
say
Cook.
just one more thing? I'm curious with these students, it was my understanding that the parents gotta opt in as opposed to opt out for this program. And other areas in Wyoming got to opt out if they didn't want their kids into it. So I can see these kids going to school with their great boots, and other parents might be interested in saying, ooh, I'd like my child to do that. So is there any way that we could get the information to the principals of the high schools to really talk about this and say that, because it runs through next week as well. So even if they aren't signed up, could they still be? So if we could get that information out to these students?
Yeah, let's let Dr. Newton speak to that, because I believe that the schools are all aware and things have been sent out.
Madam Chair, Trustee Cook, it's a great question. Because of the sensitive nature of the conversation, as powerful and healthy as it is, our families did opt in, and our principals have been the ones leading the charge, getting kids signed up, cheerleading them on to make sure that everyone can be a part of it who wants to. Because I take good directions, and Julie told me to give you the invitation. I've already sent it to you. And you'll notice at the tail end of the week, there's some makeup days. So those will be for kids who maybe didn't get to go the first time through, to get them picked up the second time through. We know our principals are continuing to try and get kids signed up at the last minute, so everybody who is interested can be a part of it.
And I did receive a parent square message about it as a high school parent, probably several weeks ago, even at that one. So, but I'm glad we have those makeup days so that kids maybe who they and their parents have not paid attention and didn't get opted in, will have the opportunity to do that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Newton for reports from superintendent and staff.
A special thank you to our friends at the J Foundation. I know they've had a very, very long day, so I will wouldn't be surprised if it's time for you guys to hit the road. But I want to personally thank you for all the work you're doing, caring about the children in our community. I was blessed to be able to be a part of this as well. And as I saw everyone working furiously this morning, it reminded me to do a boot check with my own children. And so the message just continues to reverberate through our community. So you probably need a good night's sleep. So feel free to stay as long as you wish, but we can understand if you need to go. But on behalf of the district, thank you for the work that you all are doing. We've heard a lot about school buses this meeting, and I'm not sure if you all are aware, but October 21st through 25th is National School Bus Safety Week. So I see Mr. Knapp in the back, and I sure hope he will express to Adam Greenwood and his folks just how thankful we are for all of the work that those in our transportation department are doing. At this time, I'd like to call up Mr. Jeff Lewis to give a bit of an update on our efforts towards student behaviors this fall.
Thank you, Dr. Newton, Madam Chair, member of the trustees. I'd like to just briefly come up to you and give you a little bit of an update on kind of the continued conversation with regard to the discipline matrix that you all had the opportunity to pass through a couple months ago, as well as follow-up conversations and engagement we've had with building leaders, specifically around conversations with discipline. Today, really, the biggest thing I'd like to share and communicate is a lot of that feedback that I've received and that members of the leadership team has received. Also, kind of what we've talked about so far in our behavior council meetings. We've had 2 of them so far this school year, and like to kind of talk to you about what the format of that is and really what we're trying to do to support building leaders. And then also talk a little bit about some data early in the school year. So we're only talking about the first couple months of school, but how things have been looking. Initially, the behavior matrix feedback has been very positive. At this point of time, principals have reported that it's working well. And really the reason it works well is because it provides a lot more transparency and consistency to how we're approaching student behaviors and working with them. Another big part of what conversations I've had with principals really works around that common language. And it's an opportunity to engage in conversation with families. So as we start to see behaviors happening, school staff has the ability to engage with families and like I said, use that common language component so everybody's on the same page and understands that one definition in one part of town, we're looking at the same, defining things the same really across and consistently throughout town. And then really making sure that we're providing building leaders the opportunity to address and deal with behaviors, but also to have the ability to evaluate some of the different contexts of situations that happen and allow those building leaders the opportunity to apply the relationship component and things that they know with regard to the situation to really determine the severity and some of the supports of how we're addressing those behaviors. So really the overall communication that's been given back is very positive about what it looks like. Concerns that administrators have so far really around the matrix, it's a robust document. There's a lot to it and there's a lot of information in there. So really being able to make sure that we're providing ways or avenues for administrators to access, be able to look up things, be able to identify language and have that conversation, it takes a second. So as administrators are getting more used to using it, also being able to go through the different tiers and then identifying the different levels by using the criteria, it's a process. And continued practice will continue to help, but at the same time, opportunities for us to see where can we pare things down, where can we make sure that things are accessible, and give them a quicker access to the parts of the matrix. Another big component is the documentation component, making sure that how we're documenting it, how we're making sure that that information is documented and how it is stored and logged in Infinite Campus. And making sure that that technology is being able to talk. And those are all things that we continue to work with to make sure that it's easier for administrators to work through the process so they can focus their time on working with kids and working with families and not get caught up in paperwork or what button to push or where to click. So those are kind of the bugs that we're still working on. Once a month, we're meeting with Behavior Council. Very much looks like academic council, but with a much different focus specifically on what's going on. During Behavior Council, we've focused on four areas that we try to address every month. One of them is the review of the discipline matrix. Again, identifying what's working, what's not working. Have we identified a behavior or condition that we need to add? Are there things that we need to change? And really looking through the matrix itself. Within that, working through scenarios and working not just as the director of student services talking to a bunch of principals, but allowing principals to have conversations with themselves and with colleagues to say, what about this situation? What about this scenario? How would we work through it? And really giving opportunities to kind of talk through different opportunities. The second component is improved and revised communication with families to make sure that we are engaging families, not just on the reactive part, but also trying to be proactive in establishing good relationships with families. Don't only talk to families when it's a time of situation or crisis. Make sure that we're reaching out frequently and celebrating the good stuff as well. So engaging in that communication process and really having some strategies around how to use the discipline matrix to engage in a collaborative conversation so that families can understand the why behind what's going on. The third component is really focusing on that positive behavior set of interventions and coming back to making sure that we're celebrating the good stuff that kids are doing, and not just focusing only on a discipline matrix and how to address or assign consequences. Really making sure that we don't lose sight of that focus, that celebrating the positive things that our students do is genuinely what makes it great to come to work every day. And then the last focus is that reentry plan. And that's something we talked about predominantly or was intended to be our focus the last week of when a student returns from receiving a consequence for some type of behavior, what does it look like when the kid comes back into school? And not only how are we welcoming them back in and making sure that they know that they're still a part and it's a fresh day, but also engaging the conversation of what do we do to reteach so those types of behaviors don't happen again, and creating plans and creating supports. So in essence, some of those initial behaviors that we see more long-term success for that student while they're in the building. So those four components is what we try to address whenever we start to engage with behavior council and with those meetings. A side note, something that Eric Jackson came back from some community meetings, and there's talk in the community at the Juvenile Joint Appropriations Board meeting. There was interest because there has been a change in kind of some of the things that law enforcement has seen and some of the other folks that work with students who go and have some behavioral struggles, where the clarity, the communication, the expectations that are being held to, those are things that are being noticed by some of the boards that we collaborate with around town, specifically around discipline and behavior. One thing that continues to be a resounding theme amongst administrators throughout our district is to make sure that we continue to ensure consistency and make sure that we're continuing to make sure that we're holding students accountable, while at the same time, like I said, really supporting those successes. Briefly, I talking about data and trends. I would tell you truancy, abusive language, disruption, all of those found in grades 7 through 10 consistently cut. A lot of those numbers are substantially lower than comparative dates from last year. In the elementary schools, K through 6, physical aggression, disruption, insubordination, all have decreased significantly. Is it necessarily because of a discipline matrix? No, it's not. It's because of solid conversation and expectations that teachers have in their classroom, good conversation that those teachers are having with their administration, and then having conversations with the parents and really coming together collaboratively to address what is expected in schools and what's not allowed in schools. I would tell you the one significant increase that we've seen with regard to discipline referrals is around the area of technology. There has been a significant uptick in that, and in having conversation with administrators throughout the district, it's the renewed sense of wanting to make sure that we're enforcing those expectations among students. So things that may have gone overlooked in the past are things that we're holding students accountable and engaging parents in those conversations. So there has been a significant uptick when it comes to technology violations. So from my perspective, I think things are going well, continuing to engage in conversation, knowing that we don't have it perfect, and accepting the fact that engaging those conversations will help us tease out the things that will only make it better, not only for a better place to learn and work, but an opportunity again to really shine the positive things that our district is doing. So really excited about the first couple months and look forward to see how the year continues. Be happy to stand for any questions.
Trustee Burton.
Madam Chair, Mr. Lewis, just want to make sure that I understood correctly. It's being noticed in the community from like law enforcement and those types of agencies that the negative behaviors are less in the community because of the changes that we've made within the district?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Trustee Burton. What was communicated with me was because the school is engaging in those conversations and the school is dealing with some of these significant behaviors, there are things that other communities like DFS, that the SROs in our community they don't have to deal with, because they're things that are being addressed and talked about with schools. And again, engaging parents in those conversations, so it's not necessarily a thing that nobody's addressed, so then it goes to the next level. As the school deals with it, also parents get involved, and we've seen some promising results.
Thank you.
Trustee Clausen.
Mr. Lewis, thank you for your presentation, and thank you for all the work that you've done to develop the matrix. I know our board was in agreement on the need to have this, and it's exciting to hear that behavior is down in these various grades that you mentioned. I have two questions. When the council meets, I'm curious how you communicate the work that you're doing on the council to all of the buildings, because I'm assuming it's not every principal, but maybe I'm wrong. So could you address that issue?
Sure thing. Chairman Smith, Trustee Clausen. Initially, the behavior council is designed where there is representation from every building that should be there. Again, schools that are fortunate enough to have assistant principals or deans, sometimes they come in the place of the building principal, but the things that are reported at behavior council is designed to go back to all of the individual schools and be communicated to staff through that way. The format of that meeting is initially we start off with everybody in the room for general announcements and communications and things that are prevalent to everyone. And then what we do is we break off in the second half of the meeting to break into elementary and secondary principals, so that we can talk about more specific topics that hit those age and grade level groups. Also, I appreciate the acknowledgement for the discipline matrix, but all the folks in the back there are definitely have a huge part of that, and I cannot stress the help that this district did to come together to help support administrators. Your second question.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Lewis, for mentioning our great staff and all the great work they put into it. Yeah, the second question was related to this idea that other outside groups are noticing our matrix. And I noticed that the education committee is talking about behavior as well. And I just wondered if there was an opportunity, maybe this is better suited for Dr. Newton, but an opportunity for us to communicate that we have this matrix and we are seeing the benefits of it to that committee.
Thank you.
Whoever would like to answer.
Nod off, stare off here. Chair Smith, Trustee Clausen, definitely appreciate that conversation. I would tell you within the few districts that I've had an opportunity to have conversation with, specifically around what we're doing with behaviors. I think some of the things that we're doing here in Laramie County 1 have taken really exceptional components that I think districts across the state have done. And if there's any opportunity that LCSD1 gets to share with state legislators about the successes that we're having, I'm all on board, but I will always defer to my boss there. So,
Madam Chair, Trustee Clausen, I think I've heard through the grapevine a little bit that our behavior matrix, which is a public document, of course, is starting to leak out around, and there are some folks in the state who are paying attention to it. One of the things that the Division of Student Services has really taken on this year is they are paying very close attention to the legislative work that is happening. We just had a conversation today about the recently released agenda for joint ed, and that's one of the pieces on there. And we need to be careful and pick and choose our moments when we actually testify, but certainly communicating with legislators behind the scenes, making our resources available, but if nothing else, following very closely the work of those committees.
Trustee Cook.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Lewis, thank you for your work. I'm curious about the technology uptick. And does that have anything to do, or I didn't hear you talk much about cell phones. So can you address that aspect. Is the technology under that, are the cell phones a part of that? And I'm curious if our attention or our emphasis on that has made that more of a challenge to schools.
Chair Smith, Trustee Cook, thank you for that. I would say yes, the cell phone usage definitely falls under the umbrella of technology. And from the data that I've looked at, I would say it significantly attributes to cell phone, primarily at the secondary levels. We've seen a slight, I wouldn't even say an uptick. We've seen very baseline data that has come back from K6. 7-12, I would say, is where we see an increase. Again, the feedback that I've gotten from building leaders is that consistency piece, making sure that we're supporting our teachers, so that bell to bell, that they're not losing instruction and time with instruction. So to continue that emphasis, our three high schools, I think, continue to do a good job making sure that that consistency piece is there. Is it, and forgive me if, but I thought I heard you ask, is it an increased burden? I would not advocate or say that it's an increased burden as much it is as an opportunity for the schools to establish an expectation for students and make sure that we're holding to it. Getting rid of cell phones in the classroom and making sure that that stance is the one of LCSD1. That's a tough one, and to rip that Band-Aid off for the first couple months is going to hurt a little bit. And but I would tell you, in the conversation I've had with principals, the opportunity cost of doing discipline and having those conversations around technology versus the instructional time that was lost previously is a compromise that they're willing to do.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you. Trustee Humphrey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Lewis, I just want to thank you for your work. You came in with not much time to prepare and have implemented and made this matrix your baby. So thank you for the work that you're doing behind it and your staff that's also helping. And along the lines of encouraging positive behavior, this is something that I've really noticed Anderson doing. And maybe they were before and I just don't know, but my son every day is like, Mom, I got a hawk sticker. And I was like, what in the world is that? And he'll go, oh, I helped a friend in line, or I did this. And so to have him be excited to show kindness and respect to those around him, I mean, he's growing up in the school that way. So to start that young I'm just really excited for the district that he gets to grow up in and how we're shifting in this. Let's bring positivity to those that are doing good, but also like, kind of losing my train of thought, but I think I made my point. So thank you so much for all that you're doing.
Anybody else? Okay. Mr. Lewis, I just want to say thank you to you and Dr. Newton and all the members of the admin team that worked on this, and to those folks in our schools that are really making it happen. This was when we, as a board, all put in our ideas of what our top priorities for this year might be. Behavior was at the top of the list. I think most all of us said that, you know, looking at behavior, that was something that we were all felt was just super important. So to see this in action and to have something in place, and I know there's always growing pains, and it's not easy. Maybe day to day, and there's a lot there to reference. As I read all of it, and I thought, gosh, it's a lot. It's a big document. But I appreciate the work, but also the update. Thank you. That was something we had talked about as a board in a work session recently, or in a little mini retreat we had, was that, you know, it's great to put these things into play. But if we don't do check-ins and we don't find out how it's going, I mean, we're really shooting ourselves in the foot. So we appreciate the update, and we'll look forward, hopefully, to hearing from you from time to time on those things. And anyway, thank you, everybody. All right, Dr. Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I'd like to call Mr. Ciccarelli up real quick for a brief update on a very important topic that's going to be coming our way in the next couple of months. Mr. Ciccarelli.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Dr. Newton, members of the board. As Dr. Newton mentioned, I'm going to provide a very brief update on an important upcoming request for proposal, or RFP, for our district employee health benefits program. Maybe starting from a procedural lens a little bit, this RFP is going to be necessary as our current 10-year contract with our existing vendor or health benefits provider is coming to an end, and we've exhausted all of our renewal options with our existing administrative company for our district health plan. Because of that, we'll be issuing a new full comprehensive RFP later this fall. I would tell you that all RFPs are a significant process for our district, but this one is of particular importance, not only because of the size and scope of our employee health benefits plan, but also because it's an opportunity for us to evaluate different funding structures, cost containment strategies, and plan design options that may better serve the district's employees and our retirees. For these initial steps, I'm working with Mr. Martinez and his senior buyers as we develop our RFP to ensure that it's competitive, transparent, and focused on long-term sustainability for our district health insurance plan. And it'll be important to note that we'll also be incorporating the work of our health benefits consultants to provide some guidance and assistance along the way. Now, as we move a little further down the process, we'll be engaging with a broad group of stakeholders. Certainly this includes members from finance and human resources, but also our employee insurance committee, and probably most importantly, representatives from our employee units will be involved in that process as well as we move forward. Now, speaking a little bit to the timeline, the RFP will be issued later this fall with vendor interviews anticipated early in 2026. We'll keep the board informed as the process moves forward. We anticipate bringing recommendations back for your consideration sometime this spring. Now, once that vendor selection is complete, our next major task will be implementation. Much like our ERP that we did a few years back, this will be a pretty heavy lift for the district as a whole. This will include plan setup, employee communications, open enrollment, and coordination on the operations side between payroll and human resources, and the selected vendor to ensure that we have a smooth transition for July 1st of 2026. Now, it's important to mention that even if the evaluation would result in continuing at the same vendor, we'll approach that implementation as a full relaunch to verify our plan accuracy, update our administrative processes, and probably most importantly, make any improvements that we identified along the way through that RFP process. Madam Chair, I promise I'd be brief, so that concludes kind of my quick update on the employee health benefits RFP. Again, this is a major process for the district as a whole, and we'll continue to keep you informed as it progresses, but I'd be happy to address any questions that the board may have.
I bet we have some. Or maybe I'm wrong. No questions. Yep. Thank you, Mr. Ciccarelli.
Thank you, Mr. Ciccarelli. Just a couple other quick updates. As I often do, there are a couple of consent agenda items I want to shed a little bit more light on the theme we've been on regarding behavior. Consent agenda item D 2.4 is, you'll notice, a rather large increase on our BOCES contract. This is to serve our students whose behavioral needs are greater than what we can serve in this district. We certainly have highly trained special educators, but oftentimes the needs that our students exhibit go beyond the kind of needs that our staff is trained in and go deep into the therapeutic needs that some of these kids have. The cost for this is fully reimbursable with state dollars. And one thing that I would like to mention is these are not just the emerging issues with our currently enrolled students. We oftentimes have students move into town who have these kind of needs. So we will undoubtedly see these kind of costs crop up periodically when new families move into town. I should note that in the placement we have locally, the cost per student for a full school year
can be well over $100,000, sometimes upwards of $180,000. And for our students who have to receive their services in Gillette at the BOCES there, the cost per student can be as high as $350,000. And so when we see these large increases, it does not necessarily mean it's a large number of students. It's just students with very large needs. So I wanted to bring attention to that one. Also, D 2.1, our school improvement. You've had a chance to look at the plans. You'll notice that there's a lot of help and a lot of planning in the needs assessment that goes into our schools who are identified on that list. The options kind of go the spectrum from both state and local trainings and guidance, data review and analysis sessions, check-ins monthly, sometimes additional personnel support, lots of professional development. I am very pleased to announce what you wouldn't see in all of those plans that you received is the list of our schools not meeting expectations. Last year, we had 9 schools identified. This year, we're down to 6. And so we're very, very proud of Hebert, Henderson, Cole, and Fairview Lebhart that went off the list. The schools in need of support, we had 5 last year. We're down to 4 this year. Alta Vista came off the year before last, and this year ARP just came off of that list. So we're very pleased not only with the schools that came off the list, but the growth that we're seeing on those schools that remain on those lists. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Reducing a school to a label is dangerous work at best. These, even if they've received a designation of not meeting expectation, that's on a very narrowly defined set of terms. There are many, many things those schools do well. There are many, many things those schools do as well as any school. And so we will continue to monitor their new planning as we go forward. And we've talked a little bit about music tonight. And so as they always say, we should end on a high note. And I do want to share with you the Y-Top interim data is just finished up. And there's lots of things to celebrate, but a couple of points that I'd like to bring out. Can you believe this is a real date? The class of 2032. Those are our 5th graders going into 6th graders. We saw a reduction of 16 percentage points less students in the below basic category from when they were in 4th grade or 5th grade to now they're in 6th grade. And already, and this is just the fall data, the projected proficiencies are up by 7%, and that is in mathematics. And again, in language arts is just a representation of the great gains that are being made. In language arts, that same class of 2032, the percent of students below basic has gone down by 18 percentage points, and the percentage, those predicted to be proficient is up 17% at this moment. So we've just heard a whole lot about behavior, which we need to keep in mind, but we never want to keep take our eye off the ball on how our students are doing academically. And we're seeing some very, very positive early returns on how that is going. And with that, Madam Chair, that is the end of my reports.
Anybody have questions for Dr. Newton? Trustee Hinkle.
Thank you, Chairman, Dr. Newton. I just want to say I was fairly impressed with those plans that we got regarding those schools. There's a lot of work that goes into those plans, and it was pretty amazing to see all the detail that these schools put into this, and the number of daily meetings, weekly meetings, monthly meetings that they're doing to try and get those numbers where they need to be. So I was fairly impressed, and I appreciate all the work that those schools put into that.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Dr. Newton, I was hoping maybe you could explain, I believe the board members know, but for anybody that might be listening or coming back to this recording later, could you explain to us what the difference is? Like, when is the school not meeting expectations versus when are they in need of additional support?
Madam Chair, I'm going to phone a friend and ask Mr. Jackson to give us the brief retell on the difference between those two categories.
Okay, well, good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Newton. The two categories that you have in front of you are not meeting expectations and then schools that have been identified in need of additional support by the state of Wyoming. The not meeting expectations would be those schools who in the categories that they're scored on with the white top, achievement, equity, growth, and EL at the elementary level, plus a few more indicators, including graduation rate, ninth grade cohort. Overall, when they combine those, and it would take us probably about 3 work sessions to go through all the calculations and how they're weighted in order to understand that. But ultimately, when they combine all those scores and they get their overall score, combining all of those things, if they have not met a certain score, if it's a 1.0 or a 1.4, they're not meeting expectations. Once they hit a 1.5, then they meet expectations. It's a combination of all of those categories combined into one score for their overall rating of not meeting expectations. For the schools in need of additional support, those would be the schools who in one or more of those subcategories, whether it's just growth or just achievement or just equity or EL, if they have not met expectation in one of those categories or more for 3 consecutive years, they would be identified by the state as needing additional support.
Okay,
Does that help?
yeah, very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well said, Mr. Jackson. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, and that's it? Okay. We'll move into the consent agenda section of our agenda. All agenda items listed with the designation of CA are considered to be routine items by the governing body and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. Any item removed from the consent agenda will be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Does any board member request to remove a motion from the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none.
Madam Chair, I move to approve all motions listed as consent agenda.
And I second.
A motion and a second to approve all motions listed as consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, those have been approved. Moving into new business.
Madam Chair, I move to approve LCSD1 trustee Ashby as the Wyoming School Board Association Area 1 Director to serve the 2-year term from November 2025 to November 2027.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve trustee Ashby as the Wyoming School Board Association Area 1 Director for the coming 2-year term. Do we have any questions or discussion on that? Nobody? Trustee Ashby?
Nobody has questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Trustee Ashby has served in this role for us the last 2 years, so she would be continuing on. Right?
I
Or
would, well,
last
so
1
I
year.
served a year and then I was off a year and then I was back on.
Okay.
And so this would fill a full term. I have another 3 years on the board now, so that works out well.
Okay.
And it's possible that I may step into the leadership piece in WSBA, so.
Wonderful. All right, so you have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving trustee Ashby for this, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you for serving in that capacity for us.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move to approve offering the retirement health insurance option for the 2025-2026 school year to eligible employees of Laramie County School District Number 1 with a district contribution of $789 per month toward health insurance coverage. Eligible employees wishing to participate must notify Human Resource Office by January 9th, 2026.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve offering the retirement health insurance option for the 2025-2026 school year to eligible employees. Do we have any discussion on this? Questions, trustee Hinkle?
Thank you, Chairman Smith. Yeah, we had a discussion about this in the past, and it was brought to our attention that this amount is the same amount that's been paid in the past year. And given that the amount that each of these people will have to pay for their monthly insurance will go up pretty significantly in order to continue at the current rate of paying 75% of that premium monthly, I would like to move that we increase that $789 up to $884 a month, which would continue to support those retirees at a 75% rate.
Okay. So we have a motion to increase that amount from $779 per month to $884 per month. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do we have a second on that motion?
I'd second it.
Okay, trustee Cook is seconding that motion. So at this point, do we have any discussion on the amendment to the original motion, the proposed amendment? Trustee Hinkle
can continue.
Oh,
Mr.
sorry.
Ciccarelli has discussed with us that the way we fund this account that pays for this retirement monies can withstand that increase. And given all of the increases in costs that we are all experiencing currently, and as a retired person, it's difficult to change your income. And so if we continue at a same rate and the retiree has to pay more money each month for that, it does decrease the overall benefit that they're receiving in their overall monthly income. So I think in order to try to continue to support those retirees who have worked many years at our district, that it would be worthwhile. Insurance premiums will continue to go up, and many of them are going to go up fairly significantly in the next year or two because of all the economic changes that are currently happening. So I just feel like if we can do this at this point, this will help support our retirees.
Okay, trustee Burden.
Madam Chair, because I have to do math backwards, 844 minus 789 is $55 per month per person. Just as a fact.
As additional information.
As additional information. Because I was looking at, I'm like, well, how much is that increase? And yeah. $55 a month isn't much.
Okay. Anybody else? I have a question, trustee Humphrey.
So I expressed in the work session that we had on this last meeting that I was in favor of, that I would be in favor of the $884 a month. My question is, with the motion to us being recommended $789, is that because things were looked at further and it wasn't the best financial move to do the 884?
Madam Chair, trustee Humphrey, I would be glad to be corrected on this, but my understanding was we just didn't have a clear direction coming out of the work session. So this motion was the starting point for the conversation.
Okay, thank you for that clarifying piece.
Anybody else? All right, so we have a motion and a second to increase the district contribution to $884 a month instead of the $789 per month that is currently being paid. So all in favor of amending this to $884 a month, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, that passes. So will you read the new motion for us, please?
Madam Chair, I move to approve offering the retirement health insurance option for the 2025-2026 school year to eligible employees of Laramie County School District Number 1 with a district contribution of $884 per month towards health insurance coverage. Eligible employees wishing to participate must notify the Human Resources Office by January 9th, 2026.
So we have an amended motion. Do we have a second?
You have a second. Oh,
I'll second.
So do we not need to vote?
We already voted.
We already voted?
You don't need to, Madam
Okay,
Chair, you
never
don't
mind.
need to,
So we're good.
to second that,
Oh.
no, so you're just now voting on the amended motion.
Okay,
But Madam Chair,
yes, trustee Clausen.
comments now for this
Absolutely.
as amended. I'm just gonna note that I did not vote for this because the difference was 8%. And as I'm trusting your math,
I did my math wrong because I used 844, not 884, so
Oh,
it's $95.
Okay, well, my point was going to be, is this is new spending for our district from our general fund toward this very nice, and I'm glad we can offer it, very generous, health insurance for our retirees. But it is new spending, and when we have new spending, we have to think about, well, what are we not spending money on to be able to afford this spending? So that is why I did not vote for this, because I would like to see any of our new funding going more being directed into our buildings and into the positive output of our students and learning and for our staff too. So.
Thank you, trustee Clausen. Anyone else? All right, so now we will be voting on the amended, approved amended motion. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay. That passes. So that will be increase the district's contribution to $884 a month. All right, do we have another motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve submitting a resolution on termination hearings to the Wyoming School Board Association.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve submitting a resolution on termination hearings to WSBA. I'll turn it over to trustee Ashby to start this conversation.
yeah, absolutely. I want to start this by giving a little more context to what this is, because it became clear today that there was some confusion around that. So the process for us to take a look at issues that we have pop up in the district whereby there's some kind of state legislation or state statutes that dictate those. We can work to get those statutes changed through the WSBA. And so each year they put out a call for resolutions from all of the school districts for things that we might want them to address through a policy, through their policy statements and through their advocacy at the legislature. This is an issue that we've seen pop up a number of times over the last 10 years. And it very specifically has to do with if an employee is terminated, which even in a district our size, one of the largest employers in the state of Wyoming, does not happen very often, but on occasion it does. There is statute that says that we have to commence a hearing within 48 days, I believe. There is no time frame, however, for finishing that hearing. In addition, there can be substantial costs if that hearing continues on for any length of time. And so Ms. Polly did some research, and I pulled things out of it and put together a resolution to submit to the Wyoming School Boards Association that will go before their membership in the middle of November. And if voted in, would then become part of WSBA's advocacy agenda. It basically takes language from a handful of other states, puts a cap on the amount of time before a hearing has to be completed. Tried to look for a reasonable amount of time that was both fair to the employee and to the district, and also allows us to put an employee on unpaid leave prior to that if they meet certain felony charges. With the idea that if they are found not guilty, that there would be back pay and appropriate preparations for that. So that is what is in the resolution.
We have, yeah. Trustee
Madam
Clausen.
Chair, I'd like to propose an amendment to the language.
Okay.
If you look at the language, I've got to thank Trustee Humphrey because my computer was not loading. But right at the very end, this is just adding a D to a word. But it says in the second to the last sentence, a superintendent may suspend without regular compensation a licensed employee who has been officially, and the next word should be charged with a D.
Yep.
That's my amendment.
Okay. So we have a motion for an amendment to change charge to charged.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a second. Have any conversation about that amendment? Okay, so all in favor of changing the word charged to charged in the second to the last sentence, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that has been changed then. Brittany, it's okay to give them some corrections with typographical things? Okay.
Benefit of living in my.
Yeah.
Just.
They're just down the street. Okay. So we have that amendment now that's passed for this resolution. We have any other questions, conversation, proposed amendments to this? Trustee Cook?
Yeah, thank you. So not being that familiar with it, if it wouldn't, I mean, could we ever as a board do this without having WSBA?
There is very specific language in the current state statutes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we couldn't independently go and say.
Not to this level, no. We may be able to make a few tweaks, but for the most part, it's very dictated in the statutes I've got referenced in there.
Thank you.
I believe you could lobby legislators on your own, though, to kind of put a bug in their ear about this, right? But we couldn't, as a district, just choose to change how we do things because of the state statute. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so we have an amended motion or an amended resolution. And at this time, we'll vote on that. I guess before we vote, Trustee Ashby, thank you for doing this. I think as a board, and Ms. Polly, thank you. As a board, I think we've had some conversations about this topic. So I personally am excited to think that perhaps we could put this on WSBA's radar, and if it passes there, that they would add this to their advocacy agenda for the next year. So Trustee Cook.
Yeah, Madam Chair, when I read through it, I had also found another additional that under rationale dictates that a hearing, so dictates that a hearing must commence on a date. Do you see the extra? So do you want that?
I don't know that we have to vote on that.
Okay.
I can just clean it up.
Just, okay.
Doesn't substantially change the.
Okay, sorry.
I was trying to get this out, sorry.
No.
All right. So we will now vote on the resolution with just the amendment that we passed to change the word charged to charged. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that has been approved. And Brittany, thank you for your work on that. That concludes our new business. The next regular board meeting will be held on Monday, November 3rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. A work session will begin at 5 p.m. The business of the district is now done. We have a motion for executive session.
Madam Chair, I move to go into executive session prior to adjournment for the purpose of possible student long-term suspensions, expulsions, personnel, and legal advice.
And I second.
Okay. All in favor of going into executive session at this time, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we will break to that and